So friends, have you seen how the House Republicans are going after the FBI? It's pretty clear. They are scared to death about where the FBI might be headed next. Let's talk about that, because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So my goodness, friends, did you see any of that House Committee on the Weaponization of Government hearing involving clowns like Jim Jordan and Matt Gaetz, questioning FBI Director Chris Wray, accusing him of weaponizing the FBI against Donald Trump? Now, this is the same Christopher Wray who refused to open a criminal investigation into Donald Trump, even though we all saw what he did on January 6th, ordering an attack on the Capitol in an effort to corruptly overturn the results of a presidential election. And Christopher Wray refused to open an investigation into the obvious crimes of Donald Trump for more than a year after January 6th, as the Washington Post recently reported. This is the guy who's weaponizing the FBI against Donald Trump? You know what, friends? It's pretty obvious that the Republicans are scared to death of where the FBI might be headed next in its investigation of the insurrection. And we'll talk about that in a minute, but let's start with the new reporting. This from CNN. Headline, How Trump Turned the Law and Order Party into an Enemy of the FBI. And that article begins, The power of Donald Trump pulsated through a Capitol Hill hearing Wednesday as FBI Director Christopher Wray faced a Republican onslaught that showed how the ex-president turned Washington's traditional loyalties upside down. Trump's allies and the GOP lawmakers who seemed to be trying to catch his eye laid into the Trump-appointed Wray, portraying the Bureau, the FBI, as a fully weaponized unit of the Biden administration that's seeking to prevent Trump from returning to power and is dedicated to persecuting his conservative supporters. The Republican Party's traditional reverence for law enforcement and backing of an agency long seen as one of the most conservative institutions in the federal government was forgotten. It was left to Democrats, who have often harbored their own suspicions of the FBI over its treatment of the civil rights movement and during the war on terror, to come to Wray's defense. It's hardly unusual for congressional hearings to denigrate into untamed partisan grandstanding, but the House Judiciary Committee's marathon session showed a deeper level of enmity and displayed how Trump's years of seeking to discredit an agency called to investigate Trump's aberrant behavior. Put a pin in that word, aberrant, please. Trump's years of seeking to discredit an agency called to investigate his aberrant behavior has challenged its reputation. That is the reputation of the FBI. Now, I think the author of this article misspelled the word criminal. Trump's criminal behavior, not just aberrant behavior. The article continues. Wray confessed he was mystified by the hostility, which follows years of his agency being dragged into politics, not just in the Trump era, but after many Democrats blamed Wray's predecessor, James Comey, for stacking the 2016 race against Hillary Clinton when he reopened a probe into her email server. And I love this part. This from Wray. Quote, "The idea that I'm biased against conservatives seems somewhat insane to me," given my own personal background," said Wray, a Republican who served in President George W. Bush's Justice Department. He was responding to a volley of accusations of politicized justice from Wyoming Representative Harriet Hagman. Representative Jerry Nadler of New York, the ranking Democrat on the panel, criticized the hearing, part of a string of GOP efforts to show the weaponization of the Justice Department as little more than performance art and a transparent effort to protect Trump. Indeed, the CNN article observes, the GOP charge that the Bureau, the FBI, is acting like a pet agency of an authoritarian president, that being Joe Biden, bent on persecuting his enemies, is not borne out by the facts. Frankly, it's a picture that rings truer in the last administration, the Trump administration. Trump is the one who weaponized the Department of Justice, the FBI, to go after his enemies. So why is it that the so-called law and order party, the Republicans, are seeking to dismantle, defund, decommission the FBI? I don't think it's much of a mystery. First, they have decided that they will forever be Donald Trump's lapdogs, trying to protect him against accountability. They've decided that they will serve as accessories after the fact to Donald Trump's crimes because they don't want to lose the votes of Donald Trump's supporters. And second, and maybe even more fundamentally, they don't want their own crimes in connection with January 6th, in connection with the insurrection, investigated. Remember this motley crew, the pardon seekers? Matt Gaetz, Mo Brooks, Andy Biggs, Louis Gohmert, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Scott, pardon me, Perry. These are people, most of them still members of Congress, who knew they committed crimes on and around January 6th. They wanted to get away with those crimes, so they asked for presidential pardons. Maybe they got them, maybe they didn't. We'll learn more about that in the future when they're charged. But maybe the second best way to keep from being held accountable for your crimes is to defund, decommission, dismantle, try to destroy the very law enforcement agency that would investigate you for those crimes, the FBI. So what they do is they attack, they tear down lifelong Republican FBI Director Christopher Wray in hopes of tearing down, tearing apart, dismantling the FBI. That is the Republicans eating their own. And that can't taste good. But friends, let me assure you, it won't work. The FBI will not be dismantled, will not be defunded, will not be destroyed. It will continue to investigate the crimes on and around January 6th, fortunately now under the leadership of Special Counsel Jack Smith and his team of FBI agents and his team of federal prosecutors. They will not be deterred by these stupid little dog and pony shows put on by the Jim Jordans and the Matt Gaetz of the world. Justice will come. I still believe justice will come to the members of Congress who committed crimes on and around January 6th, trying to overthrow the results of a presidential election, trying to overthrow our democracy, trying to keep installed in the presidency a corrupt and criminal Donald Trump. I still believe justice will come for them. and justice matters. Friends, as always, please stay safe, please stay tuned, and I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.